Welcome back to Access Anime. I'm Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of Sword Art Online episode 23. Now, if you remember from last episode, we see Kirito, and he actually knows where Asuna is at, so it's amazing, thanks to Yui's help, of course. Now, the only way Yui can actually talk with Asuna is through apparently the warning mode, so the only way that Asuna can tell Kirito that she is up there is by dropping a system control card that she picked up, or should I say, stole. So she does drop the card, and Kirito eventually catches it. Now, he doesn't know where to use it or how to use it, and neither does LeFay, but eventually they discover, or should I say, they're making an assumption that it only works inside of the world tree. So that's the assumption, and it's pretty much dead on in my opinion, because we already know the answer to that. So now Kirito has a goal in mind. Basically, he wants to go to the dome at the tree base, so once he enters and wins whatever fight that's inside of there, hopefully he'll go all the way up top to the tree and save Asuna. So he parts ways with LeFay, says goodbye, shakes hands, and he's off to the dome at the tree base. Now eventually when he gets to the dome at the tree base, he goes inside and we see dozens, no, not even dozens, hundreds of thousands of guardians shooting arrows, swords, you name it. Now eventually, it's an amazing scene, by the way. It is an amazing scene, but eventually he gets defeated, and it's the saddest scene you can ever see. I was heartbroken when I saw that. I was like, crap. And eventually his life's about to expire within the game, for his character anyways. And then out of nowhere, LeFay jumps in and saves the day. So his ass was saved thanks to LeFay. So she pulls him out and he's been revived and he's okay. Now the downside, he opens his mouth and mentions the word, or should I say, Asuna. He says Asuna, and LeFay just snaps. She's like, what? Brother? And now it all unfolds. They now know they're related, brother, sister, cousins, you know, whatever have you. So the cat's out of the bag, and she's heartbroken. She logs right off, and she goes into like a whole spin-off of crying and you name it. Then, you know, Kirito logs off, tries to comfort her, tries to see what's up, and she explains to Kirito, I was in love with you offline, you know, and to take my mind off of you, I found an amazing guy online. It turns out to be you, and she's all screwed up. She's crying, she's sad, she slams the door, she says, don't bother me, leave me alone. And Kirito does not know what to do. He is stunned. He's a stunned man, that's all I can say. He does not know what to do, how to address these issues, and again, that's where the episode ends. Now I'll keep my final thoughts and my ratings at the end of the clip, so stay tuned, but let's dive right in. Now we open up this scene with Kirito and LeFay, exactly where we left off, so no surprise there. Now LeFay is very heartbroken, she's crying, and Kirito, okay, he's even more confused, and he does not know where to go. Now, it gets a little interesting, I guess, because we do a flashback with Kirito. We get to see his childhood, I guess, with his family and how he coped with all the situations that were presented in front of him. And we also get to see how he coped with Sword Art Online, and also how he coped with when he woke up from Sword Art Online, and how his sister slash cousin was there for him. Now he feels, in general, he may have let his sister down slash cousin down in general. So I can see where he's coming from. So he does feel terrible with what's happened, and how he's not paying attention to his sister, and how he did not recognize her feelings, so he feels kind of bad. But we are taken to a different scene. Now we see Kirito. Now he tells LeFay, like he tries to open the door, kind of, or at least knock, and tell LeFay, I'll be waiting at A-Run on the North Terrace, so he'll be online. So he's going back online. He's not going to stop there, but he is going back online. He swallowed his pride, and he was able to talk with, well, to LeFay to an extent. Now LeFay on the other side of the door, she's curled up like in a little ball. She's crying. I don't know what's going through her mind, but somehow she logs back online. So she's now back online. She's back in the game, and she runs into Rikun. Finally, we see Rikun yet again. He appears out of nowhere. Now, if you remember correctly, a few episodes back, he was trapped by all these salamanders, and they wouldn't, you know, he couldn't get past them, so he was just stuck because, you know, he went invisible and he was stalking them, and eventually they caught him. So we find out he poisoned the salamanders and he escaped, and then he was following, well, LeFay in general. So that's how he was able to catch up with her. So that makes sense. Now LeFay does point out she's not going to be with this Spriggan anymore, which is her brother, but she doesn't say brother, so Raccoon doesn't know they're related yet, or at least not even through this episode, sadly. But again, she points out she's done with, you know, her brother in general. She's not going back there. And then somehow Raccoon does like turns around and he like admits his love to her, like I've loved you since so on and so forth days. And he's like expressing his feelings, and she just shoots him down. But it's a nice wake. It's like it wakes her up in general. It literally wakes her up. She actually gives Kirito another chance after she wakes up, per se. So thank you, Rikun. You definitely got to her. That was a plus. But I'm sorry you got shot down. No, not really. I don't like you. But moving on to the next scene, we do see Kirito and LeFay. They finally caught up online together, and it's a one-on-one. It's Kirito versus LeFay. I'm like, really? Sweet. I was like, I didn't see this coming. I'm like, okay, let's go for it. And it's kind of an intense battle at first, or I should say a fight, but it goes nowhere because Kirito kind of drops himself for a cheap shot, and you see, LeFay getting ready to dive right in and take him out, and it's a no-go. So I was like, really? It was a cheap shot. It was perfect, and he was let it go. He deserves this. He's like, you know what? Hit me in general. Just take me out. I deserve whatever's coming to me. And then it's like a brother and sister hug, even though they're cousins. I will point that out every single time I can get a chance to. They are cousins, not brother and sister. But it's like an aw type moment. They're hugging each other, and they're in the moment. They're like apologizing. And we hear Kirito making an amazing statement. He's like, I don't feel like I've woken up from Sword Art Online yet because Asuna isn't up yet. So I still feel like some part of me is still in the game. And then we do hear from LeFay in general. She's like, well, when you wake up, I'll be there at home waiting for you. Now we don't know as like a love interest or just like a sister/cousin, but she definitely has a real huge crush on him regardless of the situation. And the way that Kirito was talking, it almost sounded like, well, Asuna is just part of the game. Once she wakes up, I can focus my attention to you, LeFay. But I don't believe that's really how it was meant to be said. That's just how I took it, so bear with me. But I definitely love that scene. It was definitely a brotherly love, sisterly love moment, even though they're cousins. But I loved it. But moving on, I digress way too much. Again, they all have everything figured out, both Kirito and LeFay. They're good now, so they're good to go. Now moving on to a different scene, now we see Raccoon, LeFay, and Kirito. They're all together, and they're basically they're making the assumption that they're just going to go in and it's just going to be like the Three Musketeers. So they're at the base of the World Tree, and we hear LeFay brings up an interesting idea. They're going to raid the World Tree. Again, just the three of them, the Three Musketeers. I'm like, are you crazy? What about the Kate Sith and, the Sylph? I thought they were going to meet you up there, but I guess not, because they're just going to jump right in. So again, they're going to just raid the World Tree. That's not going to go well in my opinion, but that's just me. Now, Yui appears, and she manages to tell Kirito about the data she actually recorded the last time he was in versus all the Guardians, so that's kind of nice to know. Now we find out the Guardians really are not that strong at all. They're actually weaker than Kirito, but as a whole, since there's hundreds of thousands of them, the only way he can beat them is with his speed, so he has a chance. So the new plan right now is Kirito's going to attack, while Raccoon and LeFay both back him up with the magic, just healing him and whatnot. So that kind of makes sense. So at least they have a game plan. Now moving on to the next scene, and it is an epic scene. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was amazing. Now we see Kirito, and he's taking out all these Guardians. And it's amazing. It's kind of different from last episode. We actually see him working with a group now, so he's a little different. He's got more free time. He's taking one Guardian after the next. It's so amazing, and I love every moment of it. But eventually, Raccoon uses his dark magic because he's trying to protect LeFay because he doesn't want her to get hurt. He is focusing his power, his heart at least, on LeFay, trying to protect her. So he uses his dark magic to get an opening, take out all these guards, all these Guardians. So at least it'll also help Kirito when he wants to go to the top of the tree. So kind of buy one get one free type of deal. So he's trying to help LeFay and uses his dark magic. Now apparently the downside of using dark magic is self-destruction. So he's instantly dead. So it's got a big death penalty toward that. But it does make a big opening for Kirito, and he goes straight for the hole that was made. Now sadly he was shot down and he was taken out already. I was like, wow, that was quick, and I'm sorry that happened. I just couldn't believe it. And now LeFay is next. So far we have Kirito. He's still alive, but he's about to be defeated. And now they're going after LeFay, and sadly Raccoon is now dead. So just when they're about to take out LeFay, all these Guardians, who would appear? Really? The Kate Sith? How the hell do they enter this little mission? Like, aren't the doors closed? No, they're not. We see the Kate Sith Dragoons appear out of nowhere on these dragons, and they're joining the fight. And then we see the Sylph also attack. Now we see Sakuya and Alicia, they're joining in. perfect timing, and now it's an all-out charge, and it's amazing. I loved every freaking moment of it. Amazing. Oh, we see everyone taking out all of these guardians left and right. Amazing. Now we're taken to a different scene. We see Kirito and LeFay now teaming up, and they're in sync. They're in perfect sync. It's kind of like when Kirito is in sync with Asuna. Well, Asuna, you've been pushed aside. Here's LeFay. I was like, wow. Brother and sister, or cousins, however you want to call them, they're an amazing group in general because they're in sync. They're perfect. And all I can say is it was amazing. Now moving on past that, we do see LeFay hand off her sword to Kirito, and he makes a break for a little gap that's up there, like the little hole that was made for him. So he's going for it, and he makes it. I can't believe he actually made it with all that backup. And by the way, his technique he used with the swords, again, amazing, phenomenal. And the music, wow, I could feel the music too. It was perfectly timed, by the way. Now again, he does make it through, and then we see the Sylph as well as the Kate Sith make a full retreat, and they think, well, not think, they tell Kirito, or at least, you know, LeFay and everyone else, it's all up to Kirito now. It's all up to you, man. And they leave. So that was a good plan in general. It was a good goal. I mean, I would have thought they would have started at the beginning, you know, as a group, but, you know, end result was still worth watching. And moving on to the last part, we see Kirito. He's made it past all the Guardians. He's now on the other side, but there's no exit. He's just jamming his sword into the ground, and then eventually Yui comes out and says this area wasn't meant to be reached by normal users. The system administrator locked the opening, so he's kind of screwed. But he remembers he still has the system control card that Asuna gave him, or dropped down to him. So he gives it to Yui and tells Yui to activate it. And she does, and they get teleported out. And that's where the episode ends. Now, moving on to final thoughts. Where did they get teleported to? What part of the tree in general? And is the King Oberon, where's he going to show up? Is he going to be in the next episode? He's got to know something is up. I mean, he's the assistant administrator. You got to understand it's not going to go as planned. Something's going to screw up somewhere, so the administrator's going to jump in. But if you remember correctly, he's on vacation, so we don't know when he's going to get back. Now, moving on past that, I'm wondering if Asuna is going to be reached in time. I don't know what date we're on right now. Are we on the 25th day, the 24th day? We don't know what day it is yet. So time-wise, we don't know what time it is. It could already be the 26th. I don't know. So I can't wait to see the next episode where we stand there. Now, I think that ends it for my final thoughts. Maybe I'll throw in one more. I'm wondering if we're going to see more of the Kate Sith and the Sylph in general, or Sidgard. Maybe we might see Sidgard. I'm just putting that out there. But again, that ends it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4.5 out of 5. I love the music. The battle scenes weren't too bad. The fighting was great. It wasn't drawn out, at least, you know, the Kirito versus LeFay. That kind of sucked, but, you know, I like the ending still. It was good closure on the brother, sister, cousin thing, kind of. Now, did we see a lot of emotion and drama? Oh, you bet your ass we did. Not excessively a lot, but definitely a good amount. So well worth it. So why wouldn't I give this a 4.5 out of 5? So final rating, 4.5 out of 5. Solid 4.5 out of 5. And that ends it for my rating. And again, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Sword Art Online episode 23. But definitely comment down below, let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Definitely subscribe. Check me out on Twitter and follow me if you like. But definitely let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's going to happen in the next episode coming up. And again, that ends it for today, at least for now anyways. I was going to do my walkthrough and review for One Piece, but it's not out yet. At least I haven't refreshed my page yet, so I'll probably do it tomorrow morning, so definitely stay tuned. But again guys, that ends it for today. I gotta hit the bricks. I gotta go. I gotta get my my buzz on, you know. So I gotta go. Before I go, I gotta say it. Can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.